Hello, welcome to the One I Have Spare Time podcast. I'm Mr. Frank, and I'll be sitting here talking to you for a few minutes. As usual, I'm wearing clothes. I'm wearing a pullover. I know you can't see it because it's just audio, but I'm wearing a Cyberpunk 77 pullover. It has one of my favorite anime characters on it, Rebecca. Nothing beats a good lolly, especially when she has a gun. But anyway, yeah, I was sick of looking at my YouTube videos and looking at me when I figured I could just put some old school Overwatch gameplay back when it was 6v6 and none of the characters were gay. It's I'm I'm not surprised Overwatch, and I'm not doing a thing about Overwatch, but whatever. I might as well talk about it. The reason why Overwatch has like half its player base now is because as time went on, it just got more gay. Like, I mean, it's true. It's like I remember a time when you played Overwatch. You played this video game. You played it for entertainment purposes. It was peak escapism. Just and you could put that with anything else in life. When the product was just for fun, was just for escapism, you know, people enjoyed it. It wasn't political. It didn't have any identity politics. It was just meant for what it was. It was a video game, and it was for entertainment. And then as time went on, Overwatch became more and more weird. They made the character Soldier gay, the most manly man in the game, at the time, and it threw everyone back to like, wait, because at first there really wasn't any lore, and I don't really care about lore, but they started like putting lore to the game, and they're like, oh yeah, this character is gay, and I just remember playing, and like lots of kids play this game, and so you'll be in the lobby, and like a kid will go, okay, I'm picking Soldier, but I'm not gay though, and it just really took people out of the game. And so, people started playing Soldier less, and then people started having less fun because if someone picked Soldier, it was like, okay, first of all, it's a hero shooter. So if you know anything about the lobbies in games like this, it's like, you know, every other word is nigger or faggot or cunt. It's because it's a bunch of guys, and usually kids. Kids are the ones that say those words the most because they get to be edgy. Okay, but like when someone picked Soldier, it was just endless fag jokes, and it's like people just stopped playing Soldier, and because it overly it like you already get taken out the game, but now it's just like no one's even playing. They're just like, you know, calling Soldier a faggot every 5 seconds, and the person playing Soldier a faggot every 5 seconds. And anyway, and I remember I was playing Overwatch so much, we had a regular group of people playing, and so and I forgot the guy's name. It's been years because I don't play the game anymore. I don't play the game anymore. And there's this guy. He was like, I can only play Soldier when I play with you guys because everyone else makes fun of me. And the thing is, we made fun of him like the first two times, but then because you play with this person on a regular basis, you're not gonna make fun of them every time. So like it was like the first two times we made fun of him, but the first two times when he picked Soldier, he had to go, hey, now listen, I'm not gay. we like we know and we don't care. It's like whatever. But anyway, now well, the last time I played Overwatch was it's been a while. I mean, it's like every 2 weeks the character was like gay. And like that's why I stopped playing. It's like I just want to play a game because once again, if you play in the lower ranks, because I had a bunch of characters, so like my character on the higher rank didn't have this problem, but the character on the lower ranks, you're playing with a lot of women and a lot of children. A lot of women, a lot of children play in like bronze and silver. That's like the lowest of the lowest rank. And you know, why do you want kids having to deal with this? Like that's the one thing I don't understand. Like the people who like made Overwatch or the people who are in charge of this stuff, I guess they forgot that kids make up a large amount of the player base. And so I'm like, why are you subjecting kids to this? And then they know it's wrong because in other countries they don't have that. Like all the gay propaganda. So I don't know, but the West is evil, but not as evil as a black guy that stabs a random girl on the bus. But I thought that was I was gonna say funny, but what's funny is the coverage of the guy in what was it, South Carolina that stabbed the girl on the bus. What's funny is not that some random homeless black guy who's been in and out of jail 13 times for violent crimes stabbed a random Ukrainian refugee in in the neck a couple of times after she got off of work from the pizza place. That's not the funny part. The funny part is the media coverage. No one is covering it. I know I don't watch mainstream news, but you still see clips of mainstream news on the internet, so you can't escape it. So like every clip of mainstream news I've seen, like the news on your regular TV, I haven't seen one one thing about the story. The only reason why I know about it is because I'm subscribed to independent news and they're covering it like crazy. So I just think it's weird that like a YouTube channel, like an independent YouTube channel that has like whatever 20,000 subscribers, but they're like a news channel. They're like covering it extensively, but like CNN isn't, or like my local Channel 5 news isn't. I just find that so weird. And it's probably because it's a black guy who randomly killed a white girl. But if it was a white guy killing like a black chick, it'd probably be news. And then you'd probably have every Democratic politician saying we need to riot. It's just so weird how crime only counts if it's like a certain demographic. It makes no sense whatsoever. But then at the same time, it does make sense because the people in charge are, well, they like what's going on. But see, the thing is, the guy who you know committed the random act of violence, he should have been in jail already. See, this is what I understand. If someone commits, and I don't know what the exact number has to be, but he had been in jail, like arrested 13 times already for like violent crimes. Now, obviously, it wasn't murder, but just 13 violent crimes. Okay, and I don't know the details because I didn't look at his file. It's just when you say 13 violent crimes, I get the gist of it. Meaning meaning you don't fit into society. You don't belong in society. So I don't know what the arbitrary number has to be. Okay, but if you get arrested for like whatever, mugging someone, we'll just call it like mugging someone. After like the third time, maybe, I guess, and like I guess I'm just saying three because just because three strikes you're out. But like whatever, the fourth time, whatever, like under 5, okay? If you like assault someone and it's been 5 times, like the fifth time you just have to, you know, and I know you just can't be giving random people life sentences, but if you've proven the fifth time, whatever, sixth time, whatever, that you just cannot last in civilized society, and like, maybe like you don't want to live in a society where like if someone commits a crime, a violent crime 3 times, and they get locked in jail for life, okay, then they have to be exiled, you know. So like, let's say this guy, the fourth time he commits a violent crime, and unfortunately, because we have these crazy laws that have been promoted by Democrats, where it's soft on crime and cashless bail, and these are policies that mostly women vote for. But anyway, if you don't want people to go to jail who commit violent crimes, then you can't have them in society though. See, that's the problem. Okay, like I'm completely okay if you don't want violent criminals to serve time in jail. I'm completely okay with that because I think jail is dumb anyway. Okay? But you have to either exile them from the country, because I don't know what else you can do, because they've already proven that they don't fit into society. Like, society doesn't work if you have people who just keep going in and out of jail for like, we're just going to use robbing a bank. Let's say if you rob a bank and like they don't put you in jail. Okay, so then like you rob a bank again. Okay, so this time they give you a fine and probation. Then you rob a bank again, and like this time, like you didn't have to go to jail, but you had to do some community service. So it's like you're gonna keep robbing banks. Okay, so let's say the second time you rob a bank, they're like, you know what? You can't live in this country anymore. Okay, well then like that would have stopped the other 14 times he would have robbed a bank. And you get what you want. You don't put someone in jail for some reason, and give them the time they should be serving, because if if a person who robs a bank did, I don't know, let's just say 10 years in jail. Well, that would probably solve a lot of crime, because I'm assuming if you're robbing a bank, you're also doing other crimes. Because usually people just don't do, I'm gonna rob a bank. They usually do 20 other things. So like, you just send them to a different country. And the thing about other countries, especially if you send them to an Asian one, well, they probably won't accept them anyway. But like in an Asian country, you rob a bank, they give you the death penalty. But notice in Asian countries, people don't rob banks because they're tough on crime. What about that other country? God, what was that Latin country? Was it El Salvador? I'm gonna look up that country where like they actually became tough on crime, and like all the crime stopped. Let me see. Um, I'm looking it up now on my other computer. Yeah, El Salvador. Okay, it was El Salvador. So El Salvador arrested every gang member, basically. They put every gang member in jail, and guess what happened? It's now the safest country in the world. Because do you know who commits all the crime? Like just a very small percent of the population. Very small percent of the population. Okay, so even like in a DC where Trump put the National Guard out, and the cops are on like overdrive, whatever. They arrested roughly 1,100 people, and there's virtually no crime in DC right now. Well, I'm sorry, there's no violent crime. Like there's no carjackings, there's no shootings. And what did they do? They literally arrested 1,100 people. That's crazy. It was like it was under 10% of the population was committing over half of the crimes. So it's the same thing. And the same thing in El Salvador. It was like they arrested 1% of the population, and now it's the safest you know place on the planet. But for some reason, in this country, we're afraid to be tough on violent crime. Like you think violent crime would be it would be like universal, like that's like the one thing you don't want. Like I don't know, like I understand being soft on like drug possession because who cares? Like no, like the only person, usually the only person who dies from doing drugs is the person doing the drugs. So that's a crime that only hurts the user. So I don't care if that person goes to jail or doesn't go to jail or whatever. I don't care. I don't care what that person does. But if someone has a history of, robbing banks, killing people, whatever the thing is, something that you know devastates several lives, because like if you kill someone, you're basically hurting that whole person's family. You're affecting society in a very negative way when you commit a violent crime. And so by having this person out there, you're making everything worse. So I understand, hey, let's take this person away. But for some reason, there's just so many people who don't think like that. And it was brought to my attention that there's lots of money to be made if you have crime in your city, which is sad because like you can get like government funding. Like, yeah, we need more money to get more cops, even though you already have enough cops. You're just not putting the people you arrest in jail. But you have these statistics, and so like you can get government funding, and that's what people were saying about California. Actually, that's why they're soft on crime, and that's why they want to defund the police, because it makes crime go up, and then you can say there's a problem, and the government or the federal government will help you out. But see, that's not working anymore though, because look what happened with DC. They were like, no, we're just gonna send in the National Guard and fix things. And then look what happened in Chicago. They don't, like, the governor of Illinois and the mayor of Chicago don't want Trump's help, but they want his federal funding. Can you believe that? They're like, we could fix it ourselves. We just need federal funding. We just need your money. Like the whole thing's a scam. Like these politicians who say defund the police, these politicians who say we don't need help when there's like 60 shootings in a weekend. Those are people that don't care about you. They have proven they don't care about you. But and then other people were saying, because I brought up Chicago. Other people were saying, well, the people keep voting for the same people, and then I found out that Chicago has some of the lowest voter turnouts in the nation. So if no one's voting, so basically if like rich liberals vote Democrat just because they have to vote Democrat, and they live in a safe neighborhood and crime doesn't affect them, they're going to vote Democrat just because it's Democrat. And so that's why nothing's changed, because the people who are voting for the same politicians over and over again, it doesn't matter who's in office, they're going to be safe because they live in a safe community. And it's all these poor people who don't vote, who do suffer from the crime, they're the ones who suffer, and then the people who are committing the crime, they obviously don't vote anyway. And then like most of those people don't vote. So it is what it is. But anyway, back to the girl on the bus. I just think it's crazy that she was a refugee from Ukraine trying to get away from the war, and then dies in the war out here. The random black guy, and then like this is what I don't understand. If she's a refugee, I'm assuming she's staying with a family that's hosting her, right? How come they didn't tell her what to do? Like, you know, don't sit next to a black person. If you see a black person, run. Like, listen, you can say anything you want about, oh, it's racist. Statistics don't lie. Okay? Look at the statistics. Who commits the most violent crime? Who commits the most violent crime? I'm just going to repeat it. Who commits the most violent crime? You already know the answer. Okay. Then why are you hanging around those people? Why are you sitting next to those people on the bus? I don't take public transportation anymore. I stopped doing that years ago because there was too many of those people on the bus. Okay? And I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not trying to be hyperbolic. I stopped taking public transportation because there's too many brown people on the bus. I was on the bus one time, and sitting across from me was this black guy, and he's sitting next to another black guy, and he keeps looking at his leg, like the big black guy. He keeps looking at his leg, and then the guy next to him looks at him, and then the guy that's looking at his leg is like, "Yeah, I gotta let it bleed out." He's like, "What happened?" He's like, I was like selling. I was selling. I forgot what drug, but he's like, I was selling, and like this guy tried to rob me. He shot me in the leg, and so I look at his leg, and he has a bullet wound in his leg. He has a bullet. And so he's like, so anyway, so he's like, telling the story about selling drugs, like by the mall, and so some guy tried to rob him, shot him in the leg, and he got shot a couple of days ago, and so he's waiting for the bullet to bleed out. I know nothing about a bullet, but I don't think the term bleed out means you let the bullet bleed out. It means you're gonna bleed to death. You're bleeding out, and so this this dumb. Oh God. Yeah. So this idiot thought he didn't go to the hospital. He just thought, okay, well the bullet's gonna bleed out. Okay, I'm not a doctor, but I know that's not how it works. And then the guy next to him's like, okay, just totally agreeing with him. Like, and I'm like, I just can't take the bus anymore. I just can't, because on the bus I'm sitting across from someone who got shot in the leg, and thinks he's supposed to let it bleed out. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Okay. And you know what, that guy. And I'm sure that guy's a lawyer now. I'm sure. I'm sure he went to a 4-year college, graduated from Harvard, went to law school, and he's probably the best public defender. Okay, probably. But anyway, there's just certain the bus attracts certain types of people. And see, the thing is, even in a nice area, you'll be on the bus, it attracts drug addicts. And drug addicts are just as bad as, those brown people. And then what if you get a double whammy? It's a brown Drug addict. I mean, see, the thing is, like, in a civilized society, civilized people act civil. But then when you throw in an uncivilized person, the civilized people, like, their brains can't comprehend that someone is even like this. And so that's why all the bad stuff happens to those people. That girl on the bus, came from a civilized country. Now, the government is just as corrupt as any other government, but I'm just saying, in Ukraine, you can take the bus and the person behind you is not going to stab you. Okay? So she would, like, it would never cross her mind to not sit next to the black guy. Okay? And then, like, she's not thinking of, like, crime statistics. I think of crime statistics. It's like, if black people make up 12% of the population, but make up 53% of the prison population, guess what? I'm going to avoid them. It's so statistics don't lie. Blacks make up 12% of the population, but make up 53% of the prison population. Okay, well, guess what? I'm not going to hang around black people. It's it's not racist. It's just called statistics. It's called facts. But, like, she came from a place where you don't have that problem. And, I know nothing about Ukraine, but I know they have a 1% black population. Hence, they don't have random murders on the bus. You know, you know, if you want to keep your civilized society civil, you have to get rid of all the uncivilized people. And you can't immigration. You can't let in animals, uncivilized people who don't fit in with Western values and Western norms. And I forgot who said it, but this person said it best. If you come from a country where eating dog is normal, you don't belong in America. If you come from a country where it's okay to stone your wife to death because she looked at you the wrong way or didn't cover her hair, you don't belong in this country. If you come from a country where, like, you guys fuck goats more than you fuck real women, then you don't belong in this country. It's like you don't fit the Western values. Like, America is one of the few places where you don't have to learn anything about the country and you can still live your normal life, which is insane. I have gone shopping to whatever, just stores, and the person who's working there doesn't speak a lick of English, but somehow got hired. And then they'll say, like, at least they know no English. They go, I don't speak English, but they'll say it in this broken language. And the reason why is because someone who works there speaks their language, and hired them. But this is America. Yeah, so, but, like, you can't do that in any other country. Like, I can't go to, just name a country. I can't go there and not learn their language and, like, expect to get a job. Unless it's a job like teaching English, but that's not common. You know, and then other people from other countries, when they come here, they expect you to change and fit their ways. You know why? Because they're uncivilized and they just don't. A- Animals that lack common sense. Like, there is an IQ difference. There's a big IQ difference from the third world to first world. It just doesn't work. And here's the thing: the reason why the reason why society gets messed up is because smart people let stupid people do what they want to do. Okay, and it's not just with the immigration or the crime rates. It's like with like all the trans bullshit. You have people who are like who were men who put on lipstick and a dress and think they're women now, and everyone just lets it slide. Like the reason why it slides is because smart people, people who aren't crazy, normal people just go, okay, I accept it. No, you're the reason why things have gotten so bad. It's because normal people let it slide. Civilized people have to start, fighting for us, fighting for our civilization, basically. I mean, like, how much worse do things have to get? I mean, you see what's going on in England, or like, it's great, like Ireland, Scotland, like that whole region. I think it's Great Britain, right? Like, there's people protesting now because they're sick of, you know, all the women getting raped. Like, how far did things have to crumble before now just everyone is like, now there's manhunts, people like going out and like just trying to get rid of the migrants because their government is like letting it slide, because just because you're in power doesn't mean you're smart. Lots of dumb people have have been in office. Lots of dumb people have been in charge. Okay, and it goes from the micro, goes to the macro. Okay, everyone can name a situation where someone who was completely unqualified was in charge and it ruined everything because no one else said anything and just let it slide. Like, even like, look at what's going on in Russia and Ukraine. Vladimir, Mr. President, is a dumbass. Didn't he say that this military operation was going to take a week or whatever, 2 weeks, whatever? And it's been years. Well, obviously he doesn't know what he's doing. Obviously he miscalculated. Okay, obviously he's not qualified for this job. I would I would dare say he's stupid. Because if you say that this quote unquote military operations, I forgot how long he said, but I think he said it's going to take like 2 weeks. It's been 4 years. So if your 2 week military operation ends up taking 4 years and over 1 million people have died from it, yeah, I don't trust your IQ. I don't think you're capable of the job, and you know why it's still continuing? Because smart people are just letting him continue doing it. Okay, I'm sure there's millions of people in Russia who have been sick of it, because how many? Listen, if 1 million people have died, that's a lot of grieving widows, sons, daughters, family members, friends, whatever. There are a lot of pissed off people in Russia right now, but they're not doing anything. And because good people, good smart people aren't doing anything, it's just gonna continue. I am shocked no one has assassinated him. Just because over 1 million people have died. That's like 1 million pissed off families. That's 1 million pissed off friends. 1 million. Come on. How long are you gonna just stand around and let this happen? But this goes with every aspect of society. Like, every topic I've said here, it continues because good people, civilized people, smart people let it slide. And a lot of times it's just because you don't want to be labeled something. But people are getting sick of being labeled, and like, labels have lost their power. I've been called lots of things. I don't care. I don't care what you call me. I've been called so many things. Because usually the people calling you the name, well, are the people that are part of the problem, or the people that want the problem. And those are the people that you just have to ignore, or actually not ignore, keep track of, and make sure they don't gain any power, make sure they don't have any influence, because they're part of the problem. See, the thing is, we have to get rid of the problem, and sometimes the problem is a person. Sometimes the problem is an ideology. It's hard to talk when I'm not drunk. It is an ideology. Sometimes the problem is just the way people think, group think, people who want a virtue signal. How many times have we said that the reason why we have a lot of these dumb laws is because of rich liberals, because their life doesn't change no matter what happens. Okay, but guess what? Those people aren't that bright, because they don't realize, because I guess they live in some magical world where they think, oh, everyone's just like me. Everyone lives their life just like me. I'm like the girl that got stabbed on the bus. She lives in a soft on crime city, but it's soft on crime because the people who voted for this, well, like we said, live in safe neighborhoods. So like this rich person who votes is like, oh, well, everyone must have my kind of life. The gated community lifestyle. So I'm just gonna vote for, like, no one goes to jail. We don't need any more cops, because it's like I never have any trouble. So there's no need for a police, even though I have private security guards. Like, it's that way of thinking. It's like stupid thinking. Like, I know that people don't live like me. Like, I'm assuming everyone lives a very unique life, and I don't assume that the way I think is the average person thinks, and I don't assume my life is the average life. I don't assume that the amount of alcohol I drink before I do these stupid podcasts is the same thing that you drink. Seriously. And so when I vote, I don't vote based on, oh, everyone's just like me. I'm sure. No, I vote, what do I think is going to make society safer and like less tax dollars? Like, I think of stuff that affects us in a good way, and I never think about, well, I personally don't like this politician, or I personally don't want, like, I want to make sure on my X account I can post the whatever current thing is in virtue signal. Like, I don't care about that stuff, obviously. But see, the reason why things are so bad, because stupid people do care about that stuff, and that's how we have the situation we're in right now. It still blows my mind that people went through COVID and all the fascist actions the Democrats did, taking away your rights. See, fascism is taking away your rights, your free speech. But you got people calling, if you're a Republican, you're a Nazi, you're a fascist. You guys don't know. You remember the No Kings protests? Okay, the No Kings protest should have been against every politician that was for the lockdowns and taking away your rights and forcing you to take an experimental drug. You know what? You're going to lose your job unless you get the jab. That's fascism, because your rights don't matter. It doesn't matter what you want to do with your body. This experimental drug is one size fits all, which is bullshit, because there is no medical procedure that's one size fits all. There is no medicine. There is no medicine on the planet that every single person can take. There's people who are even allergic to marijuana, because I know someone's going to go, but yeah, everyone can smoke weed. Not true. There's people who are actually allergic to marijuana. There is nothing on this planet. Well, okay, air. As far as I know, no one is allergic to air. But I'm just saying, like, there is nothing on this planet that is universal that every human can digest. But yet, you had a tyrannical government saying everyone has to take the vaccine, and no one protested that. but yeah, you'll do a fake protest called No Kings, and like you don't even know why you're protesting. You have no you're just out there because someone said so. And those are the stupid people, and that's why we have these problems. That's why you have a woman getting stabbed on the bus randomly. It's because all the people who are participating in that shit. Like there are so many examples of how to spot these dumb NPCs. I judge a book by its cover. That's why when I hop on the bus, I don't sit next to the black guy in the hood with dreads, but I will sit across from someone who's bleeding out. I know it doesn't make sense, but trust me, I'm not stupid. Anyway, I've said enough. You guys have a good one. I'll talk to you later. Peace.